All right, kings and queens, welcome to another LTC episode of A New Perspective. Today's a very special episode. Mike is not in this episode like the thumbnail suggests. He actually couldn't make the recording last minute. So instead, I have three special guests here joining me on today's episode. So if we just kind of want to go around and introduce ourselves. Other Mike is here. We have replacement Mike.
I am the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah, that's actually a fact. And then we have Siddh and Kahaan. If you guys want to introduce yourselves real quick, whatever you want.
Okay. So hey guys, so my name is Siddh. I am a student at Purdue. I did my freshman year with Nate, and it was an amazing time. We both were cybersecurity students back then, and we really loved our majors. And this is my first time for the podcast. I was awaiting when I'll get the chance to jump into this wonderful podcast. And yep, I'm here today.
Hi, my name is Kahaan. I'm also a student at Purdue. I'm a transfer student. And Nate is, I guess, Sid's friend. And he just asked me that you want to be part of the podcast real quick. And I just said, yes, we want to do that. So
listen, it's always a fun time on the podcast. Sid's a legend. Kahaan, I don't know you, but you seem like a really cool dude already. And then Mike, I've known for forever. This is, I don't know about you, Kahaan, but as far as Mike and Siddh go, I know this is their first time being on a podcast as well. So we'll just take it step by step, and hopefully you guys have a good time. If you guys ever want to guest back on, let me know. We have a business account and everything. You can send us a DM or email or whatever, or even personal contact. I don't mind. You guys can always be guests in the future. So today's topic, well, actually I have a couple announcements real quick. So number one, you might notice different lighting, better camera and stuff. I upgraded the setup. It's all nice and lovely and beautiful. Have a nice ring light and camera, fancy stuff.
It is quite nice.
So that's the first thing. Second thing, and this is a big one. We mentioned doing giveaways back in, I think, May or April, and you may notice it's the end of June and we haven't done any giveaways yet. We kind of forgot about it in part because we also didn't record at the same time. So I'm actually very happy to announce that we're going to start doing giveaways here. And so the first one will be an Instagram post. You can look for it to come out sometime. I mean, by the time you see this episode, the post will probably be out. You have to be following our Instagram page, and you have to tag 2 people in the comments, and you'll be entered in. I'll do a random name picker. It'll pick someone at random. We might do an Instagram live or whatever, and we'll announce the winner. We'll send them a DM, and we're going to do t-shirts for this one. So you just get a free t-shirt basically, and on the house. So we just wanted another way to interact with people, get people looking at the brand and things like that, and kind of grow the podcast and everything. So we thought giveaways are a great way. Everybody loves free stuff, especially clothing and stuff. So it's cool. You get a free shirt, whatever. So yeah, I think as far as announcements go, I think that's it. And if you lads are ready, we'll dive right in.
Yep.
Actually, real quick, before we get into this, I'm going to take a minute, thank our sponsor for the episode real quick. Hey everybody, Nate here. And real quick, before we get too far into the episode, I'm going to talk about our sponsor, Anchor. If you're not familiar, they're a free platform that allows you to record and edit your podcast from your computer or from your phone if you're on the go. They have free monetization with no minimum listenership. So advertisements just like this one right now that you're listening to. And they also distribute your podcast for you to several different platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as a few others. And so if you ever wanted to start a podcast, what are you waiting for? Go download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm right now to get started. All right, and we're back. So advertisements done, self-promotion, shameless. And so let's get right back into the episode. So today's topic, kind of a very interesting one. We're going to be doing, talking about what's the most important thing you've learned. So I'm going to go first. And when I was, pitching the topic to a couple people, I was originally talking about patience was probably what I was going to do. So I'm actually going to talk about 2 things here real quick. patience is kind of something big I've been focusing on right now. And, patience is everything, especially for like people around our age, because we're so young. We're always pedal to the metal, trying to get things done. We have all these dreams, all these goals, and everything that we're trying to get after. And, we kind of get caught up in it and forget to just kind of live life sometimes. And so I guess what I've been really learning lately is just patience is very important, especially as a young person. You think back, even all of us, we're about the same age. You think back to high school, right? And that feels kind of forever ago, right? And that really goes to show that, over time, it might have just blown right by, but you really have so much time to do things. And, you kind of got to look at life in a standpoint of, at this point, what do I have to show for what I've done, for what I've lived so far, right? And just be very patient in everything you're going through. I know personally, again, I've mentioned mental health struggle for a while. One of the biggest things for trying to get out of that was being patient and taking it one day at a time. And really, that's kind of what you have to do with everything. So patience is really big. Now, I don't want to just talk about that because that's what I'm still learning. I'm still trying to incorporate that into my daily life and everything. What I really want to talk about is just perspective in general, the way you look at things, right? The the way you look at things is super crucial, I feel, into how you live your daily life, right? And whether it's my biggest thing was changing my perspective has been a lifestyle change. And that comes from just living healthier in general, from working out, trying to sleep better, something you still need to figure out.
Sleep?
Yeah, this guy doesn't sleep. Sleeping better, eating healthier, actually exercising, just working constantly to work towards achieving your goals and things like that. And with the podcast, it's something I've done that's a proactive step I've taken. But really, I've just been trying to live a healthier life. And that's something I've been doing over the last couple of years, changing all of that. And, I really feel like that makes life a lot better if you're able to have that happier perspective. And if you just have a better understanding of things overall, it allows you to better approach situations and things like that. So I guess mine is just perspective is the biggest thing I've learned, and just how to approach things.
Very nice. Very nice.
So thoughts,
So
questions?
what was your perspective before you were having a good, before you started this new perspective and changing your life? Was it like not too much on the line and you just brought your life back on the line, or how was it? And what was the breakthrough for you to get your perspective back or have a better perspective?
It's a very
really
good question.
I like that.
So like I said, I've actually been very open about like my mental health struggle over the last couple of years, and just a lot of events, just kind of weighed down on me. I never get really too deep and personal about it, but I guess I was just very unhappy and depressed, and I just felt like I was stuck in place because I wasn't working towards the things that I wanted to. And I don't know, I just felt kind of stuck, like I couldn't work on the things that I wanted to. I felt like I had to fit this certain set path. And, the get good grades, go to a good college, get a good degree, get a great job, that pays 6 figures plus and all this and that. What changed that? A lot of things. I mean, for those that don't know, I'm a volunteer firefighter. And so you've been an EMT, so you know about that. You've seen some stuff.
Unfortunately.
So seeing that side to life really puts a different perspective in your head, that life is short. A lot of things happen.
Yeah.
And, some of that really weighs on you. I lost, a couple patients here and there. I'm sure you have probably. Yeah. Yeah. It has its toll. Lost a 2-year relationship right before I went to college. which was 8 hours away from home, didn't know absolutely anybody. And so, trying to get used to a whole new lifestyle away from home, away from everything that was comfortable, was also a big changing point. And the biggest thing was my weight, actually. Going into my freshman year of college, I was around 270 pounds. And that's going from being a junior Olympic track athlete, being 170 pounds, ranking at nationals and stuff like that. And, I put on, in about 2-3 years, I put on over 100 pounds. And in my freshman year of college, in the second half, I actually lost 50. So I lost half of that. And I'm still working on that. But that was the biggest part, to exercise for better health. And it was also the way I looked at working out was, it's one thing in my day I can make constant, because everything throughout the day is always changing, right? And this is one thing I can schedule in, make sure I make time for it. And that's always going to be something I'll have in my day. That'll be the one steady thing that I'll have going on in my day, something I can look forward to. That's just me time. I can decompress, get all that energy out and just do it in a positive way. That was the biggest thing. And then after that, it just started a snowball of, okay, now what can I do better? How can I improve my lifestyle further? So I started writing a book, which is now almost done. I started the brand, which took me 8 months to build up to the point to where we were starting to record the podcast. And now we're doing that weekly. And, I've met a lot of people, met a lot of guests, interviewed a lot of people, done a lot of awesome things. And so, I live a lot happier because I haven't been scared to make the changes. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, it's okay to be scared, but as long as you fight through that and actually make the change because it's going to be better for you, that's what's most important. As long as you're making those steps, because really that's all it is. It's just another step. And that's just kind of the perspective I have, is one step at a time.
Yep. That sounds a lot of change that you've made.
Yeah, actually, since you and I have last talked, Sid, definitely very different person, as I'm sure you're starting to realize.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and it's good. It's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
So, if there's no other questions or anything, Sid, you're up next, buddy.
Okay. So till now, there are a lot of different life experiences that I've learned, from patience to perspectives to time management to sometimes maybe anger management too. But out of these plethora of different things that life has kept me teaching, making me fall down and teaching me how to go up, one of the major things that I've believed is, I think for me, it was time management. Because like being an international student at Purdue, with the exposure that you have, you got to meet your friends, you got to finish your studies, got to take care of all your things, make sure that you're not late running for classes, finish up all your homework.
Which you were
And
always late for classes, my guy.
up,
You were always late for classes. I remember sitting in lab, because you and I sat in together in lab, and you would walk in like 10-15 minutes late, look at the TA and be like, "What's up, man?" And then just start working.
I think those
Oh, Sid was always fashionably late. Don't worry. Sid was fashionably late.
But the thing is, you guys know him only for 2 years. I've been with him since last 17 years. I know him since 17 years. And this guy's always been late. Not only the classes.
Even today, this was supposed to start at 12. He sends me a message. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm going to be late." 12:30. 12:30 rolls around. He comes in 10 minutes after that.
Yeah, so like all these 10-15 minutes added up at one go, and it was a big mess then. So from then I decided, for all my assignments and important work, I think I need to do a proper time management and actually know how much amount of time I need to give on particular things. Like even if it is friends, I know like if you're going out after your studies to hang out, and you just specify in your mind that okay, I'll just be here for 1 hour, then I don't think like in that 1 hour you're not having fun. You're just basically thinking, when will that 1 hour get over and when will I have to leave or something like that. So the thing that with time management, I decided that I prioritize all my work first and try to complete it like before like noon, 12. So like in the morning, what I felt was in the efficiency that my body had, and the learning capability for me increased a lot. And like most of the times when we plan and go and meet and hang out with our friends, it's like in the evening time around 3 or 4 p.m. till late night. So yeah, that was good. So basically, if you prioritize your work not in that time but in a different time of the day, because 24 hours is long. So if you prioritize them properly, you will be really getting success like in your day-to-day life. Like even if you start time management like today, you'll find tomorrow much better. I feel that if I'm a morning person, some people are also like more efficient at night, so they can also do that. Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we could say that I used to wake up early in the morning for our lab exams, and you would be sitting there since the light down at McCutcheon's computer room. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
think
spent almost all my nights in that lab. I'd be there starting around like 6 p.m. All right. And Sid would be down there with me doing some homework. He'd leave, go to bed. He'd come down because he'd have an exam, and I'd still be in there. Yeah, I'd still
that
be
was
down.
that was I think for the 176 labs in which we had to do other research and stuff.
Listen,
That
have you done 242 yet?
242, yeah, I did it.
That class is ridiculous, especially if you have bad group mates, which I did. It was awful. My group mates didn't do anything. I had to do the 3 weeks worth of work in a single week by myself because I had 2 other lab classes. It was just a mess. And it's actually funny that you mentioned like time management and things like that. So actually in my book, and I'll have to send you a copy, Sid. In the book, the first chapter I talk about is time wasters. And
Yeah.
it talks about eliminating that. And it also goes into like social dilemma with how social media impacts like time wasting and things like that. But long story short, basically the whole point of the book is focusing on different aspects of life and how if you implement them day to day over time, your day-to-day success will be better, which is something you actually mentioned. And time management is a big part of that.
Yep. I feel like for most of our students, like the most time management will be in the weekends when you just go, yeah, let's go to party. I'll have homework, I'll finish it on Sunday. Sunday, you wake up, you're tired, you just go to sleep. And what about the assignments? Like none of them are done. Yeah. Let's open up Chegg or Quizlet. That's the best course. That's the thing. So I feel that like there are a lot of time wasters, especially the social media, Snapchat, Instagram. Like they waste, like if you see my screen time, they waste like 4 hours in a day. And like what can I not do in those 4 hours? Like maybe 1 hour gym, 2 hours of more sleep, and 1 hour of just Instagram. That would be much better. So I think with time management, I also changed my perspective and made myself more disciplined. Like if I have made a rule regarding time, then I need to be disciplined, because like time management, I feel, does not work single-handedly. It needs discipline with itself. So like if you just wake up every day and you are not disciplined that, hey, I'll study, but instead of studying, you just open Netflix and start watching movies, then it doesn't make any sense, right? And I hope most of this has happened to like a lot of students.
Probably everyone, if I'm gonna be honest.
I think time management and discipline is something you guys need to teach us. Like firefighting, like the importance of time and stuff. And what's your view of, like, with the amount of experience both of you have, what's your take on this?
Timing is everything. Timeliness, especially. So, I actually just posted something yesterday. I reposted a TikTok, and it was a guy real mad about, people being late and things like that. Kind of ironic for today because everyone was late. And it's actually, I'm chill about it. I'm a really understanding person. Again, perspective, just how I am. But timeliness to me is everything. You know, the way I was raised, if you're on time, you're late. If you're not at least like 10 minutes early, you're late. Is the way I was raised and everything. And that's just how it is. If you're not 10 minutes early, because what if something happens on your way? What if something goes wrong? You know, what if you forget something? You got to run back to your dorm or your apartment, like if you're a college student. You know, anything can happen during that time. And if you give yourself that extra time, you know, you'll be less late. And I don't know. I feel like it gives you a better sense of preparedness day to day, which, as much as you're gonna hate me mentioning it, Eagle Scouts. Scout is prepared. As the motto.
See, I think a good analogy to go with this whole conversation is the whole, okay, I have to be at work at 8, which means I have to leave at 7, but I have to get up at 6:30 so that I'm out the door by 7. But I actually have to get up at 6 because I got to take a shower and brush my teeth. So I'm going to set my alarm for 5:30 to make sure I wake up on time.
Pretty much. Yeah. I think it's just, you know, taking into account what you know, like, so kind of what Mike was saying, you know, to get ready in the morning, kind of figure out how much time that takes you, and if you can speed that process up, right? Allot that amount of time in your morning before you have to be somewhere. Take into account your travel time to wherever you need to be. Add that in there. Backtrack it to whenever you need to wake up. Now, if you're like me a little bit, sometimes I'll be in bed. I'll wake up on the time I need to. And again, this kind of goes back to the discipline, but I might just kind of sit there for like 5 minutes and be like, yeah, it's fine. You know, whatever. And, you know, sometimes that adds up and everything. So you got to take into account those things. Now, also, what you need to think about is anything unexpected. Like, say you have to drive somewhere, if there's an accident, if there's traffic, whatever, you need to take into account all of those things.
That makes sense.
And I think
I always feel, how will the president of United States keep his time? Each minute
he has
is
people
like,
to do that for him, bud.
Yeah.
He has people doing everything for
Yeah,
him.
that's too rich for my blood.
Yeah.
But yep, they prioritize pretty well with all the stuff that's been going on, and like all the activities that they have in their daily lives. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So moving on, Kahaan, it's your turn, bud.
Yeah. So one thing that I've learned, like adding all of your experiences, like Nate talking about patience, Sid talking about time management and perspective, all those points and discipline. One thing that I feel was very important is being consistent at it and believing in the process that it's definitely gonna change. So what people do is, like, you see a different perspective, you find it good at the first time, so ready to accept it. But the very next moment when you feel that that's not right, you try to go back to your original perspective and you don't stay consistent with trying what's new. Even when Sid said about time management, you get up for, like, if you decided on Sunday that let's go to workout, you do that for Monday and Tuesday. You get up early morning on Monday and Tuesday, but what about Wednesday? So, like, that consistency, if that breaks, that causes, like, that is the main pinnacle that makes you fall everywhere. Like, consistency is one thing that I learned back in high school when my dad was screaming on me because I couldn't sit at one place and study. For me, I had this big issue that I can't sit at a specific time in a specific place to study. And then to be very honest, my high school grades literally dropped because I wasn't consistent at studying. I was good at studying, but I wasn't consistent. And like the thing that changed in college, like the moment I came here at Purdue specifically, I've tried to be the most consistent I am. I even tried to include Sid with me in that. That I tell him that, Sid, let's sleep at the same time, let's get up at the same time. Forget about the other nuisances around us. We need to be consistent about few basic things, because if they are in line, it's everything other falls in line easily. Like, you don't have to put a lot of effort for other things. And the thing is that people do it, but then they don't believe in the process. So it's like a system that you have to put faith in. So being consistent and being faithful about that consistency is two things that you really need to take care of. Because if you miss on that, you're probably like making your life miss out of the most of the time and most of the things, because if you're not consistent and like faithful about what you're doing, then you're probably not happy at all. Like it's just that you're doing it for something
Yes,
artificial.
like doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, like that those two virtues are the one that I always missed, like for my high school years, even in my college first year. But like then one time when I was sitting with my father, he's like, I was not smart as you, I'm telling you on face, but one thing that I was very good at was being consistent, and that you suck at. So I was like, that is something that I literally took from that conversation, and like I tried to be consistent. But again, when like I said, being faithful about it, I only be consistent for a week, for a month, but then if I don't see the change, I'm not faithful about it. So I need to keep the faith and consistent for so long that you don't break, but you make the thing that you're pursuing break, and then you do it. So those are the two virtues that I think I've learned over time.
I think
Yeah.
something that I'll need to add from this is, before in the podcast, Nate spoke about that he used to take out his gym time and he lost around 50 pounds. So like I was also pretty fat back then. And speaking about consistency, like for the first 2 weeks when you just go to the gym, your just body aches and you don't see any difference in your body. And 99% of people, like in those 2-3 weeks, they just leave it, they just quit it, like this is not something for me, gymming is not something for me. But the actual start of the journey starts after those 3 weeks, and you see the change in your body from the fourth week itself. So
So
I feel like,
real good example of this real quick. New Year's resolutions. How many people come up with a New Year's resolution and after a couple weeks are like, sorry, I already messed it up. Like,
Yeah.
and you know what? Especially at college, you'll see
Yeah.
people, my New Year's resolution. You'll see so many new people come in the gym. You'll be waiting in lines to use equipment. And you're like, okay, where have all these people come from? It's their New Year's resolutions. Couple weeks go by, you're no longer waiting for equipment. All those people stop coming in, right? Humans are very habitual creatures. We love habit, and there's, it's proven studies and everything. It takes at least 2 weeks to break a habit, right? So, just to start working out, it takes that 2 weeks of, anytime, and I still find myself doing it with working out. Sometimes I'll be like, I'm tired, I don't really want to go, but those are the moments whenever you need to actually kick yourself in the butt and actually go do it, because that's whenever you most need it, right? Because if you're staying consistent at the point of least wanting to, I mean, you'll always be consistent after that, as long as you're consistent then, whenever you least want to be. Just do it.
But to add, I have a thing for humans. The one thing that I feel, we are consistent for a few days just because the goal that we set up is extra greedy than what we can achieve in those days. Like people say that you can't just be a bodybuilder in a month. You can't just lose 50 pounds in a month. You need to set up small goals. Like being consistent is to set up small goals, because if you want to do things in one blow, you don't need to be consistent at all. That's the point. If you can do it in one blow, you don't need consistency, but you need to take one step at a time, small steps, not big steps that you don't believe in yourself, small steps that you think you can achieve, and then be consistent about those. I guess everything would work for you. That's what I personally feel.
on this, like I did say that, like the same issue like Kahaan said, like most people set so big goals that they themselves are overwhelmed by seeing the goal. Like I lose 50 pounds in 6 months, let's say, okay. After first 3 weeks, I don't see any change and I'm so overwhelmed that I just stop. But like instead, if I just do that, my first goal is to go to gym for the first 3 weeks. For the fourth week, my goal is to lose, like, let's say 2 pounds, then 2 pounds next week, then 2 pounds the other week. And yep, then that would be more successful and much better than just simply saying I'll just do this and that and whatnot.
And I think a part of the process also is you're not always going to be hugely consistent, right? Like you can do your best, and we're always going to fall off of that a little bit. And we always might take a step two or back, right? A step or two back. And what you need to keep in mind, like Kahaan was saying, you need to be faithful to the process and realize that sometimes taking steps back, they're not great. You want to be taking steps forward, but it's okay. As long as you're keeping that in your head and you're still trying to move forward. And as long as you realize, okay, what's going wrong and what can I do to change that? I think that's the biggest thing. Mikey, my boy,
What is up?
you're up. You're what's up.
I am what's up.
Yeah.
So, kind of piggybacking off what you said.
Typical American. He just takes other people's ideas and calls them his own.
I agree. Thank you. Anyway, trust the process. Definitely solid advice. I have that in my workshop, right on a piece of the wall, real big lettering. Trust the process.
Okay.
Which is right next to my unfinished projects, but I'm trusting the process. So at some point they will get done. However, I'm taking a different approach to all of this than the three of you have. You three have talked about consistency and having a plan and following through with that plan, getting things done. I am here to tell you the opposite. This is my perspective of your perspective.
Okay. Let me down this real quick.
Okay, yeah. You might want to prepare yourself.
Lay it on me, big guy.
For lack of a better term, the way I look at life, just go full send everywhere you go.
I mean, it's not the worst advice if you think about it. So piggyback off that real quick.
Okay,
right?
Piggyback off my piggyback.
So one of the things we've done an episode on is rejection and why it's good, right? And sometimes, you got to learn to accept no, and that it's rejection is a muscle and things like that. My brain just completely farted with where it was going.
That.
What did you just say?
I said go full send.
Go full send. Right. So a part of that, in terms of, combining that with being consistent, faithful to the process and everything, and remember how I said everything is just a step, just sending it, so to speak, as the kids say, as the cool kids say, right? Just doing a full send. You throw that fear of rejection out the window, right? And rejection comes in many forms of whether it's self-rejection or others' opinions of what you're doing and whatever. You're throwing that out the window. And as soon as you become fearless to that, you're going to be much happier. Now, things might not always work out, but if you're just going for it, I think that's actually really good advice, just to go for it. Go for what you want. Because, and another thing I've actually learned is people waste a lot of time explaining themselves to other people, right? And the moment you stop explaining yourself to other people, you're going to be a lot happier, because you're wasting so much time trying to explain yourself instead of just doing what you want to do, what works best for you, what you need to do. And you're just losing and wasting time.
I'm trying to find a quote here that would go along with this whole thing with the rejection. I'm sure a lot of people have heard this. This is a good one. Fear has two meanings: forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. It's your perspective on it.
It's an acronym.
It's an acronym.
I like that.
So are you going to run away, or are you going to be a boss and win?
Boss up. Always bossing up.
But no, I mean, I'm sure as you remember, Nate, in high school, I was very rigidly planned pretty much everything I did. I didn't really do anything on a limb until end my senior year.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I mean, I don't want to say I was miserable, but
I would. I'd say you were miserable.
Well, there was some extraneous circumstances contributing to that.
Yeah. I mean, you and I both. But
Yeah,
I'd say you were miserable.
But then I was like, I looked at everything and said, okay, I have a finite amount of time on this earth. Why am I wasting it being miserable? I dropped out of college, what, twice?
Yeah, you've done it twice.
Yeah, I dropped out of college twice. Had my EMT, did that for a while. Moved to New Jersey. Got trained in commercial diving and underwater welding. Did that for a while. Got bored with it. Said, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. Came back here, started flipping houses, started my own business. Kind of got bored of that. Didn't like being dirty all the time. And
So let me ask you this then. And this is a question I've been wanting to ask for a while.
okay.
So this goes along with Kahaan's thing about consistency,
Yes.
right? So from what you're saying, you've been very inconsistent.
Exactly.
Why do you think that is?
Am I really being inconsistent, or am I being consistently inconsistent?
Okay, this guy. So let me rephrase this then. Captain Smarticles over here. So you said like things like you got tired of being dirty, you got bored with it, this and that. So you're not doing things that you really want to do.
Correct.
Things that you're not truly passionate about.
Yes.
So what would that be? Do you even know yet?
All I know, as far as what I want to do with my life as an end result, I don't even want to use the term end result, but goal. Let's use goal, because I might achieve that goal and want something else. So end result would not be an appropriate term.
Well, then let's use vision,
Vision,
because goals are the stepping stones towards achieving a vision.
I want to be a legend.
A legend, how though?
I want people 300 years from now talking about things I've done.
Okay.
I'm trying to build the world's fastest Harley Davidson shovelhead right now. And I very well might.
Okay.
If I achieve that, my name's going to go down in the history books forever as the man that has the world's fastest shovelhead.
Until someone else does it.
I was thinking for somebody to do that.
Okay. I mean, fair enough.
There's
Absolutely fair enough.
There's a lot of money and a lot of years and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, literally, just in the engine on this thing.
But so let me throw this out there to you then, and I'm not just busting your butt or anything. But so like these guys are computer guys,
Mhm.
I presume, right? So they'll kind of understand it more than you might a little bit. But think about processors, CPUs, right? And how the speeds of them have kind of plateaued, and they're kind of reaching just like we're not really getting any faster, right?
Mhm.
And over the years, people with technology have come up with things that can run faster, run better, be more efficient, things like that. So you do this, and not to take away or anything. I mean, you're in your own right to have that. But people forget very quickly as soon as something new comes out, especially in things of technology, which is what that would be fallen under, mechanical
Absolutely.
technology, right? People forget very quickly and they move on. And really good way we were taught at Purdue, one of the professors, I don't know, Professor Barlow.
Victor Barlow, Professor Victor Barlow.
Yeah, Professor Victor Barlow.
Yep.
One of the first things he told us was you can get the newest laptop, you can get the newest computer, whatever, with the latest tech, and it immediately becomes obsolete.
Yes.
It immediately becomes obsolete because there's already something better being done.
Now, okay, let's look at it this way, though. Yes, technology becomes obsolete almost immediately.
Okay.
And things are forgotten. Let me pose this to you.
Confucius once said,
No, think about this. Speaking in relative terms, computers are very new technology.
okay,
Now, who are your pioneers of computers and software? Jobs and Gates.
simply, sure.
They're still remembered.
They're also still around.
They're also still around. Engines on vehicles, cars, planes, bikes, whatever. that technology has been around for what,
I mean-
120 years, something like
I
that.
mean, I guess it's still relatively new.
So
It's still relatively new. So, do we really know if that's going to be forgotten? Because
I just have a question for you. So who invented the first car engine? Do you know that?
that's actually a good question.
Would that have been?
That would have been
Wouldn't have been Ford, would it?
no, it was not Ford. That would have that was an overseas invention. I think a French guy did it. I don't remember.
Let me look it up then.
Yeah, look it up.
So
Um,
the point that I wanted to make is, if we don't know who made the first engine and we don't even remember him, then whatever we make, we just be remembered for a small period of time.
Okay, now
Well-
I'm here supporting Mike with this point. So
Carl
I've been
Bennett.
looking at his perspective, and the thing is, he believes that he does not believe in consistency, but actually, if you look, he's consistent at discovering new things.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's kind of something else I was getting at. Is it's all right to try new things. It's all right to, keep making different steps and things like that. I think that's awesome. And, one of the things I'm also still learning is living the journey, as you like to say. Everything's a part of a journey, right? And you got to appreciate the journey. And so whenever you're trying to live super fast and on this little one narrow track, you skip over important life lessons, any setbacks and things where you learn, and you just miss experiences. So I mean, yeah.
now, okay, here's a point, and I like where you went with the inventor of the first engine thing. I really like where you went with that, and that's a good point. But the way I'm going to counter that per se would be just an engine is common. Everything has an engine now. Ink pen. Everybody uses an ink pen. I don't know who invented an ink pen. Do you know who invented an ink pen? It's common.
Some dude.
The world's fastest of something is not. It's one of a kind. We remember one of a kind things. The Model T was one of a kind because it was one of the first successful commercially produced vehicles. We remember Harley Davidson because Harley Davidson is an American legend and they've been making motorcycles since 1903. We remember Indian because they made the first motorcycle. We remember unique things. An engine's a very generic term. You can put an engine in anything. You can't make two Indian motorcycles. You can't make two Harley Davidsons. You can make a million ink pens.
I agree. Like the question is, who made a phone? You don't know, but who made an iPhone? Like everyone knows who started iPhone.
Because
Me-
that's a specific thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
That's fair. I love
His-
guests. You guys are awesome. I love this. This is great.
His point of view is really online, but the only thing that I have a question is like, what is the time like when you say you go full towards something? What about not completely getting the entire perspective of the thing that you're going into? Because when you go on a full throttle, there are more chances that you'll go through the obstacles once you go in them. But when you like have your patient look around and then you
Like
go,
have a blueprint.
yeah, you have a blueprint of what's going on. Like I know you're saying that just go in, but like those obstacles when you go in, if they're this tiny, they look this tall to you. But when you have a blueprint, the tiny ones, they always look tiny to you.
So only Mike's gonna get this here. So let me simply put what they're saying. It seemed like a good idea. What had happened was, what had happened was,
Story of my life. I thought it'd be a good idea to take this Jeep through 4 feet of water. However,
yeah. I mean,
yeah, that's a good way to put it. What had happened was, that almost goes to what I think my last words are going to be. Well, that didn't work.
yeah. that would be his. Yeah. So it's been a pleasure having you all on. Thanks for your time and everything. I think we're gonna wrap up here. And any last words, gents?
Send it.
I feel that lot of people who are listening to this podcast, like a lot of number of students listen to this, like seeking them, having thoughts that they might improve by hearing the podcast. But it's all about the 3 or the 4 things that we said. So it's all to the viewers that basically it's not just you hearing, it's also more of you guys implementing this in your real life. And we hope LTC, as LTC podcast, hopes that hearing our views, perspectives, opinions, and also experiences, more like we wish that your life becomes better with it. And if we do, we would be the most happiest people to hear that. So shoot out to comments if you have heard this and you wanna, your life has improved. I'd just like to say.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. I mean, dang, this guy's just gonna take over my job as the LTC head, whatever you want to call it.
I do have one very important comment to make to everybody listening. Please stay in school, kids. Please.
Yeah.
Don't do what I did. Use me as an example of what not to do with your life.
I have one more comment now. Please
for it.
stay in school and learn. Please don't use Quizlet and Check to pass
Yes.
classes. They're not helping. Those
Here's
are
the
breaking.
overall lesson. Don't shortcut things. Put in the
Yeah.
work. Do it.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
only hurting yourself. And that's the reason, that's partially the reason why I'm no longer at Purdue. Sometimes like I really tried my hardest, but sometimes I would shortcut things. And you know, that's I mean, just shortcutting never helps anybody.
You know, I tried to take a shortcut going somewhere yesterday. It was not short. It was significantly longer. So use that as a comparison.
We're ending it there. Thanks for tuning in, kings and queens. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.